Let's take another look at shares of AMC jumping more than 9% in the after hours on the back of its earnings report. Our next guest is fresh off the company's call, and he put out a new note today saying AMC is headed to a penny a share. Rich Greenfield of Lightshed Partners joins us now. Rich, great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me, Melissa. This has been a crazy 24 hours.
Well, I was going to say, between the Fubo call you had last year and the AMC to a penny call, I hope you have security cameras installed around your home.
You know, Fubo's down, pretty meaningfully from, where we put a sell on it back in December. It's obviously been very volatile, but it's down pretty dramatically over the course of the past couple of months. And I think if you look at AMC theaters, we've been looking at sort of the rise in the stock as investors seem excited by the reopening. What they're missing is that this is not Cinemark. Cinemark's actually got a very good, very good balance sheet. AMC is 8 times levered. They will never generate meaningful free cash flow. There is no value to equity holders. People can buy it because they're excited about going back to theaters, but there is no value to this company. And ultimately, that's what's going to matter is they can't pay off their debt ever.
You also mentioned, of course, the secular headwinds facing all of the movie industry, and that's shorter release times, direct-to-consumer releases via video streaming, et cetera, et cetera. So the same old sort of arguments working against the movie theaters, but it seems like the leverage is really what got you for AMC, putting it at a penny a share.
Well, I would step back for a second.
Okay.
This company generated $770 million of EBITDA before the pandemic. So go back to 2019. Now think about what's happened. Forget about lingering health concerns. I'm sure at some point we're all going to feel comfortable doing what we did before the pandemic. Whether that's 2022 or 2023, I'm not smart enough to know that answer. What I do know, though, is that executives like Jeff Shell, who runs your parent company, NBC Universal, Bob Chapek, who runs Disney, Jason Kilar, who runs Warner Media, Bob Backus, who runs Viacom CBS, all of them have said very publicly in the last several weeks, the consumer has spoken. We are not going back to pre-pandemic release windows. We are going to get movies sooner into the home and really empower the consumer with more choice. The end result is attendance levels are just never going to be. And so that 770 million of EBITDA is never going to be achievable again. And even if it was, they can't pay off their debt. But if they can't get close to that level, this thing literally is worth, can't cover its debt, let alone have any value for equity holders. And that's really why we put the penny stock target on there for 12 months.
Yeah, and the penny, let's be clear, is based on your 8.2 times 2022 adjusted EBITDA estimates. And you're saying that that could even be generous. So basically you're saying,
we're basically saying this company can't cover its debt.
Right. It's going to go bankrupt.
Ultimately. Now, it'll be a slow bleed because they don't have near-term pressure. They've gotten a lot of relief. So they have a long time before they go bankrupt, which is why basically you put it at a penny. But the reality, because I'm not saying this company is going to file for bankruptcy in the next 12 months, but this is a company that doesn't seem to have any way to repay. Remember, it's got $5 billion of debt right now. It's got a mountain of deferred rent, hundreds of millions of dollars of deferred rent because it couldn't pay its rent over the last 12 months. I don't see any way with shortening release windows. Every one of these studios is realizing the major driver of SVOD is big movies. You look at Soul for Disney, Hamilton, Wonder Woman, The Matrix is coming to HBO Max. All of these movies direct to consumer, directly into your home at no extra cost. The idea that you're going to go see as many movies at these prices in theaters, I think that's a pipe dream. Right. It's just not going to happen.
Let me ask you this, because I did see this tweet earlier, and I understand that you've since deleted it, but everything lives forever when it comes to the internet. Sure. You tweeted earlier today, down 65 cents. Clearly, this is during the session. Only $9.84 left to go. Are you in any way cheering against this stock? I have to ask you this because of that tweet and just because, the high interest in this particular stock.
We don't, look, we have, I think as you've seen, Melissa, with us going back really our whole careers, when we make a big call, we mean it. And we're going to swing until we admit we're wrong on a name. We've been very vocal in our views on Fubo. Obviously, that was a very controversial call. I think we've been very correct in that view so far. Obviously, ultimately, we'll see whether it ultimately gets to our price target of 650. But when we believe a stock is meaningfully undervalued, take Snapchat. We put a buy on it in the teens. Right. Now it's a stock that's up multiple times that. The same thing with Twitter at 16. We went on positive. When we talked, actually, I think you had us on the show back in January, people fearing sort of what it meant for Trump, with Trump, being banned. And we said you had to buy Twitter. Yep. It's been a home run stock on the long side. So We get very vocal when we believe in a stock, both long and short. That's what Lightshed does.
And the market's the ultimate arbiter. Rich, great to speak to you. Thank you. Rich Greenfield.
Thanks for having me on.